don't back down, this is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait and see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. Raise up a white flag. Didn't come this far just to turn back. The curtains fall for the last act. Breaking that levee, breaking that levee. We don't back down, this is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait and see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. We don't back down, this is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait and see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary.
It's explosive. You can't control this, no. I got metal running through my bones, a resurrection like a ghost. Hurricane, go ahead and blow. Where you could keep your white flag, I'll never fold. A shadow on a battlefield, a survivor never yield. A thunder, go ahead and shake. Don't run from the storm when I feel the rain. There's no rest for the wicked, no victory for the weak. And when the weed's getting thicker, you'll never see me on my knees. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. I got a fever in my blood, a falling embers from above. I feel the heat when the pressure blows, a wildfire that you can't control. There's no rest for the wicked, no victory for the weak. And when the weed's getting thicker, you'll never see me on my knees. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. With every beat on my heart, I'll be the light in the dark.
10 years of speed. 10 years of stories. For the past 10 years, we've been more than just spectators. We've been the heartbeat of local racing, growing alongside the tracks, drivers, and fans who make it all possible. From the dusty turns to the checkered flags, we've shared every triumph and every challenge, making memories that last a lifetime. As we mark this milestone, we're not just looking back, we're revving up for the future. We are expanding, bringing you even more racing, more coverage, and more ways to connect with the adrenaline-fueled world we love. Our commitment to the local racing community is unwavering, and the next chapter promises to be our most exciting yet.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
LSRTV welcomes you back to the Full Throttle Sim Racing Mach 1 Performance Cup Series here from Avondale, Arizona at the Phoenix Raceway. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jason Rockefeller, and alongside me, we're back. The dynamic duo from last season on Nerd has been brought over to LSRTV. Jeremy Stanley joins me in the booth tonight for color, and Charles Wooten will be pressing all the buttons tonight, alongside probably eating some ice cream, maybe some Laffy Taffy, working on his RC car. Like always, giving him a bit of a break tonight, so we'll bring him in from time to time if we can. But Jeremy, last week, we were just mentioning it to you during the pre-race, man. What a fantastic race we had between Jamie Knopf and Richie Coy at the end at Las Vegas. And man, you're pretty familiar with some of these drivers, obviously calling them over the past couple seasons. I mean, what do you expect out of these guys tonight now that you're back here at the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series where it all started for me and you last season?
Yeah, well, I mean, let me tell you, first being color is weird with you on board here. And yeah, this is not Nerd TV. This is LSRTV. Same voices, different program. We're here to take all the 156 laps to you tonight. But, you said Vegas was an excellent race, and I don't doubt that one bit. So I'm expecting very similar. The short tracks can be very fun at Full Throttle Sim Racing. So I am definitely excited to see this race. I don't get to catch many of the races anymore for other scheduling things, this and that, but I'm glad to be here tonight. And I think you guys should stay tuned all 156 laps because it's going to be a show.
Yeah, definitely going to be a show. Let's take a look real quick at the Hunt the Front TV race analysis. Remember, no fast repair. 100% fuel load, we were told from our buddy Tony Solari earlier on in the Discord. It said that the fuel run was looking to be about 90-ish laps, so I'm going to estimate it's about 80, 85 to 90 laps, and 5 sets of tires here, which have been crucial over the last couple seasons when it comes to Phoenix Raceway. 3 green, white, checkered attempts if needed, and also, remember, 156 lap race. and the stage breaks will occur at the end of laps 25 and 50. So qualifying now starting, 5 minutes underway. There's the number 4 machine. That's Chad Lang. Been having a solid season so far, at least trying to have a solid season so far. We remember last year, Jeremy, we saw him in a multitude of dessert cars. We saw him in the Hot Wheels car at one point. This guy is no guy to be really slept on. He's usually a driver who gets right up on the wheel, and he's kind of there always at the end when it counts.
Yeah, when he's fast, he's really fast. And, depending on what he does here early on in the stage, it'll kind of tell you where he's going to be in the field. Though I have not caught a Cup Series race here at Full Throttle Sim Racing in 2024, so that could be a little bit different from 2023. But, once he's fast, he is up there. He is a strong contender. And I thought he was going to do better this year than last year, and we'll see if that holds true.
One top 5, one top 10 on the board so far this season out of the 3 starts he's taken a part of. Here's last year's winner from 2023, Jose Acosta, after leading a majority of the laps last year, 137 to be exact, in the 2023 season finale here at Phoenix, driving the throwback Jeff Gordon DuPont colors there with the Wolfpack on the race car. Always when we've talked to Jose after his wins or podium, he always has to shout out the Wolfpack. Very aggressive driver. He's done a solid job so far this season. He's had a few run-ins, and I'm sure he's looking to probably turn his luck around so far this season. But Jeremy, last year we saw some fantastic racing out of this driver. Came on late in the scene, but man, he lit up the FTSR world.
Yeah, he came on about 2 or 3 months left remaining in the season, if I remember that right, maybe even 4. And yeah, it took him a few races for sure to get up to speed with these guys and contending for wins. And he is a little more aggressive, but I enjoy that. Sometimes things get a little stagnant on tracks, and you got one guy out there trying to mix it up. And Jose was that guy. He did it for us, and it brought a fresh scene onto the track and gave us something to talk about a little bit different. These guys are super clean all the time at Full Throttle Sim Racing, but when you get one new guy in here kind of shaking things up a little bit, I really enjoy to see it. And Jamie, not Knopf, you told me it's Knopf. I'm going to get that correct this time. He's really going down there on that apron and get these tires warmed up.
Yeah, probably just trying to warm him up for sure. You see him taking that extra long arc through 3 and 4 to kind of dive it down into the dogleg right here. He'll take the green flag for his qualifying lap there. That's the 48 machine, last week's winner from Las Vegas, and probably what I would call probably the best race I've seen out of these guys so far. Remember last week, if you tuned in, Jamie Knopf and Richie Coy battled it out, crossing each other over the last 20 laps. And Charles was watching real quick. And Charles, bring you in here for just a second. Don't mean to bother you on your RC project or whatever you're doing over there, pushing the buttons and obviously working over there for Race On. But man, that was one heck of a race last week for us, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was probably one of the best races I've ever seen on iRacing. And actually, I will, because we like to have a little fun. And, no Laffy Taffy or ice cream today. RC Car is actually sitting next to me. It's ready to go for this weekend. But no, I'm actually diving into a pound of Jolly Ranchers at the moment.
Oh, alrighty. Well, not Laffy Taffy this week, so he decided to go from the chewy taffy to the hard Jolly Ranchers sweet candy. Obviously, Jolly Ranchers, probably one of the only candies I would ever see on my teacher's desk in high school, no matter what room I went in. It was always, oh, you want a Jolly Rancher? So thanks for bringing that memory back up for me, Charles. But 10 seconds remaining here in qualifying. We were just talking about Jamie Knopf last week, again, winning the race so far this season. He's got a few wins so far this year in the bank for him. Done a super, super great job. He's got 2 wins, only driver with 2 wins so far this season. But with that being said, we're going to give the starting lineup for tonight's race here. The Phoenix 250K. Row number 1, pole sitter Daniel Simmons alongside Ben Tracy in the 35 to the outside. Row number 2, you find Jamie Knopf, last week's winner, 2 on the board, trying to make it 3 this week here in Phoenix, alongside Nathan Bigart, the points leader in the 01, who led a few laps in 2023. See here, we'll see what he can do tonight. Row number 3, Colton Gum in the number 10 machine, and Richie Coy, the man who is back in the hunt here, wasn't on Wednesday, He finds himself in row number 3 on the outside. Row number 4, Brody Hanna, the Wednesday truck winner here. And then Brian Bliss in the number 3 LSRTV machine. And rounding out the top 10, Jeremy, Joseph Grajava, who's looking to turn his luck around so far. Poor start to the season. And Jose Acosta, the 2023 C winner here at Phoenix.
11 through 20 have James Wallace in the 67, and to his outside, TJ Bartel in the 98. You have Ryan Hedrick in 13th in the number 47. Jeff Chandler to his outside there, going to be starting in 14th. 15th place, Brian Dublé, and to his outside will be the 33 of Sherwood Williford. 17th place, that number 4, Chad Lang, and to his outside, the 14 of Lane Allen. 19th place, the number 11 of Tony Solari, and to round out the top 20, number 42, Kyle Milliken.
Rest of the field, row 11, Chris Beck in the 44, Dave Nestor in the 36 machine to the outside. Row number 12, Josh Johnson, Wayne Grossi, who had a strong performance here last spring in 2023. Row number 13 goes to Alan Duranco and Alan Crowell for your 26-car lineup here tonight for the Phoenix 250K in the Arizona desert out in Avondale, Arizona. Real quick, let's take a look here at the Kaufman Creative weather conditions before we get going. 73 degrees ambient air temperature, 8-mile-an-hour wind speed, 95-degree track temperature. Jeremy, what is that going to do for these guys here in these next-gen cars?
It's going to be hot and slippery here to start. Get the tires warmed up a little bit. Not as much tire wear as you would see in the truck series on Wednesdays, but this is going to be telling. The first couple laps, just take it really easy. See what we can't do. This is Daniel Simmons' first pole of the 2024 season, so let's see if he can get a good start here and not bottle things up as they're going through a corner and getting on the throttle at the same time. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Daniel Simmons gets the jump from the pole. Everybody fanning out, going through the dogleg, heading for turn number 1. Simmons has about a car length advantage over Knopf while everybody else scrambles out through the back, and we got our first caution of the night. Oh, and it looks like Chris Beck and Wayne Grossi, the number 7 machine, one of the drivers we just mentioned when we were doing the grid starting order, had such a strong run in the 2023 A race here, and unfortunately sitting about shotgun in the rear of this field. Jeremy gets collected on our first caution tonight.
Wayne Grossi 5th in points, 27 back from the points leader, comes into this race on lap number 1, and it has broken suspension. No front clip here. You see the wreck happening with, it looks like the 91 maybe in the 44. Then you can see the 57 in front there. So 5 cars in total really on this opening lap wreck.
Yeah, major wreck here to start on lap number 1. And Jeremy, one thing I don't think we mentioned, I remember it was kind of, a problem last year for these guys was, which I'm sure we're going to see here tonight, obviously, since that last, race here at Phoenix and obviously the 2023 A race, there's been a lot of updates here on iRacing. Cars handle differently, the track, everything like that handles differently. Just a major wreck going down into the corner, collects 4 cars, almost 5, actually does collect 5 there. That's the number 54 machine of Alan Crowell, so pretty much the whole back half of the field. But like I was mentioning, Jeremy, you get down onto that apron, going through that dogleg. I remember last year, me and you saw a lot of guys spin out going through that dogleg. I mean, when you're driving here at Phoenix, because I personally have never driven the next-gen car here at Phoenix, is there something about the suspension and the underbody of these cars that really makes it unsettling when you go down below into that dogleg trying to make a pass or just carry that momentum off the corner?
It all depends on how you have your setup built. If it's loose on the short run to make yourself comfortable in the long run, it could be a little unsettling. But typically, no. It's a stiff suspension, so it gets a little more out of shape compared to a truck or an Xfinity car. But you typically have control of it. But that big thing, that 44 Chris Beck, just when you cut the dog, you have to be aware of who's up top. And it's very hard if your spotter's like, hey, you're 3 or 4 wide, because everyone just scatters out on this opening lap, right? So he did that, just did not see the 36, Dave Nestor above him, came up a little too high, clipped his left rear, and that's what sent that wreck into turn number 1. But yeah, no, the car's typically okay going through there. I don't usually have a problem when I race here and I go down there pretty low. I actually try to make it a little bet to myself to get as low as I can next to that pit wall to really shortcut it at times, depending on the car's feeling, of course. But No, typically it's just it's comfortable. It's comfortable over, I would say.
Probably won't be the last we're going to see of drivers getting into it and tangled up going into turn number 1 tonight. Remember, back on Sunday's Cup Series event here at Phoenix, we saw a few drivers going into turn 1. We saw John Hunter Nemechek get into the back of Joey Logano, send him right into the middle of the pack, created a massive multi-car pileup. We saw some more earlier on. Sure, that's not going to be the last of it tonight. Here we go into the Geico restart zone. Green flag. It's back out in the air. Daniel Simmons and Jamie Knopf lead them down to the start-finish line. Everybody going to fan out once more, going through the dogleg, heading back to turn number 1. Simmons has the advantage over his teammate by about a car length or 2. Ben Tracy pushes Jamie Knopf up the racetrack, and now, Jeremy, they file out down the back straightaway off turn number 2 for a hard braking zone into 3.
Well, guys, still 2x2 as we're going to complete our first green flag lap here on lap number 5. Daniel Simmons breaks out to a 0.3 of a second lead over now second place 48 Jamie Knopf. As you see one car get a little out of shape there on the front half of the dogleg. They get it straightened up here, almost 3 wide. But that quickly goes back down to 2 wide here, coming off turn number 2. And one car on the wall looks like all corner exit.
Yeah, that machine that went sideways going through the dogleg was Wednesday's winner, Brody Hanna. You see him there on the AutoZone machine. Now he's going to get a tap right there from James Wallace off turn number 4. They door check each other. Oh, and Brody Hanna is going to wreck the 67. They're around. Massive multi-car pileup heading out of the dogleg. And actually, that was not James Wallace, I believe. That might have been the 47 of Ryan Hedrick, and another caution, another massive crash, but this time it occurs all the way from in the center of 3 and 4, all the way almost heading into turn number 1.
Yeah, I definitely want to take a look or two at this one. I could not tell if it really just upset the 23's car and he had no control, or if there was a little bit of a downturn into the door panel here. You see the bump right there on the lower right-hand side of your screen, and then the 23 turns down. But that second turn out almost looks like we talked about it, where it gets a little unsettling. And I said it's okay, but I guess when you get that initial contact, then he hit the bump, the car, I think, just got loose and hit him that second time, which sent him around. Definitely intentional the first one to say, hey, I'm here, but that second one just looked like the car just hit the transition and got a little loose.
Yeah, obviously not assuming anything between the 23 and 67. They race fairly clean against one another. No history between the two of those drivers, but we're going to take one more look at it. Here it is. Going into the corner, you see James Wallace kind of just comes up a little bit, gets on the throttle. The 23 comes a little bit down. The 23, I think, thought the 67 was going to go below the apron there, Jeremy. And obviously then you talked about that transition down from the banking all the way down onto the apron. That can create a lot of really unstable movement out of those race cars, and that's unfortunately what happened to Brody Hanna and James Wallace. I'm sure they're going to have a talk in the barn, which is part of their Discord after this race. Probably, I know that Brody Hanna and a lot of the other admins and drivers as well talk about a lot of the incidents on the racetracks. We saw some on Wednesday night. We already have some here tonight, as we're under caution on lap 9 out of 155. And Jeremy, the one thing too to mention, and we mentioned it on Wednesday, because obviously the truck race distance is shorter. This one just about, 50 kilometers more than the truck race on Wednesday. These stages here at Phoenix, they are short. I don't think anybody really realizes how quickly you can get around this racetrack under green flag conditions. And I mean, last week it was 20 laps for the first stage. This one, 25. So you don't have a lot of time if you want to try to continue on and get some stage points in that top 10.
You're breaking out the kilometers thing, which I think that converts to 30 to 35 miles, if I'm not mistaken. So you can correct me on that. But yeah, these guys need to just kind of wind down a little bit. I feel like that was a little too aggressive for the 47 to make contact that hard, and then the 23, of course, came down and bumped him, saying, "Hey, I'm here." But like, that's too early. We're 10 laps in. He said 155 laps, 2 cautions already. So people want this long green flag run, and that's what FTSR is known for in my book when I've called them for 2 years. So to see 2 cautions early on, it's kind of an Easter egg here. But I think these guys are going to realize that, and when this green flag comes out, I'm fairly certain we're going to see, a full stint green flag run.
Yeah, for sure, to say the least. I'm sure we're going to get the one to go signal here or there. And again, that was all caused coming off turn number 4. James Wallace in the 67 machine just throttled it up a little too early, got into the back of Brody Hanna when he was trying to come down. And unfortunately, they both collided heading into the dogleg. And surely we will get the one to go signal here from Barney the flagman. And we will, as I believe, Jeremy, if I'm correct, they finally named the pace car driver on iRacing. I believe his name is Fred. Fred is going to turn the pace car lights off. I mean, do you think these guys are going to settle it down now that they probably just saw they had 2 cautions earlier on? I mean, I know you said they got it calmed down, but the question is, will these guys actually calm down?
It's short track. You never know, right? Like, you expect it. You know these guys can do it. They can race clean. But do they actually do it? It's one of those things where you can game plan for days on end, weeks on end. You know exactly what you're going to do at the track. You know to keep calm. It's going to be a short track. But when one person hits you and you don't expect it, you're like, man, and it fires you up as a driver. And when the helmet's on, it's a whole different world. And so, who knows, right? Now we got a couple people that are a little upset with each other already, and they're only 10 laps in. So that could stem into this next green flag run here. We're about to see what's going to happen.
Here we go, another restart. Second one of the night. Daniel Simmons launches out of the Geico restart zone. Jamie Knopp on his outside from LA Motorsports. Those Team Conti machines take it away back into turn number 1. Knopp nearly gave away the second position there to Nathan Bigart. He'll follow right until behind him on the outside lane, wrapping around turn number 2, this time off the corner. Simmons able to clear his teammate back to turns 3 and 4. And everybody else still kind of scattering around, trying to figure out what position they can slot into as they hit lap number 13.
Top 4 are going to be single file. The rest are going to be 2 by 2 for the most part, still behind them. They now get the top 5 single filed. And a lot of cars taking a really low entrance into turn number 1, which is not a bad thing. And unlike the real life, you're not going to be seeing these guys run below that yellow line there in turn 1 and 2. A lot of people can do it on fresh tires in the real world. Not going to see it here on the iRacing service. And looks like at least the top 10, Jason, are getting a little more spaced out, a little more single file early on. So this might be a telling sign that we could get these green flag laps in.
Yeah, everybody kind of really getting spread out. You see Joseph Grijalva running door handle to door handle with Richie Coy, this time coming through 1 and 2. Coy is going to get the advantage over Grijalva there off turn number 2 in the victory fuel machine. The Ford Mustang off turn number 4 this time. Grijalva, remember, like we talked about earlier, kind of a poor start to the season so far. You look at the stats down into the point standings. He is 30th in the points, 112 back, 3 starts, but nothing to show for those 3 starts at all. Has always had some kind of issue, to say the least, in all 3 races this season so far. A lot of aggressive driving going around, though, throughout the entire field. You see Lane Allen on the inside of Alan Durango. That's a battle for the 13th spot here as they come down to turn number 1. Oh, problem. Brian Dublé, as I channel my inner Rick Allen there off the corner. Something of a miss on the 37 machine. Nearly goes around off turn number 4. Maybe we can get a replay on that. But Jeremy, we do in fact stay green, and I guess it could be something for more to come with guys getting loose off these corners.
Yeah, we're going to take a look right here on the LSR replay. Coming through 1 and 2. We saw him on the front straightaway, slowing down really low. So we'll see if he just got loose or maybe hit the wall on the outside. Comes in underneath Tony Solari in the 11. Tons of space, and yeah, his rear end just kicked loose about midway through 3 and 4. And excellent save to not hit that inside wall.
Yeah, excellent save there by the 37 machine. First car to probably not lose it so far here tonight that we've been able to see. But now back up at the front, Daniel Simmons able to pull away from Jamie Knopf, his teammate there. The Team Conti machines from LA Motorsports pulling away by about half a second. Jeremy, this racetrack, it can be multi-groove. You really want to run the bottom going through 3 and 4. But going through 1 and 2, there's so many different lanes that you can run. You can enter high in the corner and then cut it down low to get the drive off the corner and arc it. You can enter super low, try to perform a slide job. I mean, what do you feel like is the best type of run that you can get there going through 1 and 2?
So for me, I like, if I don't stick the yellow line, if I cannot get the car to get a good launch on exit while sticking the yellow line, I like to do a slight arc or maybe just run that second groove. don't go any higher. There's no grip in the third whatsoever. But if you go 1 or 2 car lengths up, you can get a pretty straight launch off the corner exit, which typically is how I run a longer run, but shorter run, I definitely try to glue myself to the yellow line. That seems to benefit me. Plus with iRacing, it all determines your tire speed to where your tire wear is. So if you run a slower speeder on the corner, aka the bottom on the yellow line, iRacing is going to register a little bit less tire wear and a little bit less tire heat. So it kind of prolongs your run that way. And so early on, I feel like that's the way you want to be.
Inside very well could be the lane if you want to try to hook that yellow line down in 1 and 2. But everybody, though, not staying above that racing surface, going through the dogleg, and you see everybody still going there, even during green flag runs. And Jeremy, does that do anything to the tire wear when you go down there? And I mean, you're cutting the corner technically, so you're using a little bit more of your car. You're asking a little bit more from the machine you're driving. I mean, does it create any more tire wear when you cut across into that dogleg?
So that's tricky. I think how iRacing codes this dogleg is its racing surface. I know years ago, below the yellow line, it defaulted to a certain temperature, and it didn't keep up with the normal racing surface that gets worn in. So if it's like that, it keeps it more stagnant. It doesn't really do anything to your tire wear. Now, if they deem it as an actual racing surface now, and tire wear can build up and the temperatures can fluctuate on that lower half of the track, then yeah, I mean, you're chirping the tires a little bit, you're turning the wheel a little bit more initially to get down to the bottom, so that could induce tire heat and tire wear, but the bumping aspect doesn't do anything for the tire wear, to my knowledge. So it's just mainly how sharp you turn the car down low to get that launch on the bottom. That should determine the tire wear there.
Definitely going to have to keep an eye on that during the long runs if guys try to go down there or not. Remember, these stages only 25, and then lap 50 is when we will end. So will be interesting to see if on that third stint, the last stage of this race, if tire wear will definitely be a factor as we're coming up to the end of stage number 1 here just shortly. You see a battle going on there behind them with Brian Bliss, Jeff Chandler, but it's all been Daniel Simmons over his teammate Jamie Knopf, Ben Tracy, Nathan Bigart, Richie Collier, top 5, final lap of this stage. And Simmons was up there last week in Vegas, but then fell a lap down later on in the race. So trying to redeem himself tonight, trying to claim his first win of the season, being the 06 machine. Been doing a great job so far this season. And this time, coming off turn number 4, Daniel Simmons is going to win stage number 1 over his teammate Jamie Knopf. Ben Tracy will come home in 3rd. Nathan Bigart 4th. Richie Coy 5th. Joseph Rojava 6th. Jose Acosta in 7th. Colton Gum 8th. Brian Bliss in 9th. And Jeff Chandler starting outside the top 10, able to come back and rally up for a top 10 for that one valuable point that, Jeremy, you may never know. That could be the difference between if you're in the next round when you come into the playoffs, if you make the playoffs without a win. Definitely all these points matter for all these drivers.
And these guys here will pump out multiple wins, as Jamie Knopf have already done so. And that was the first stage win for Daniel Simmons in 2024. He has 2 top 10s and 2 top 5s. But if you want to mark yourself definite in the playoffs, you want to put at least number 1 in that win column, and leading all 25 laps to open this thing up, 26 now. That car has definitely the potential to do so here tonight.
We'll have to see if Daniel Simmons is able to do it. We're going to take our first quick commercial break. We'll be right back for the start of stage number 2. You're watching the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series on LSRTV.
10 years of speed, 10 years of stories. For the past 10 years, we've been more than just spectators. We've been the heartbeat of local racing, growing alongside the tracks, drivers, and fans who make it all possible. From the dusty turns to the checkered flags, we've shared every triumph and every challenge, making memories that last a lifetime. As we mark this milestone, we're not just looking back, we're revving up for the future. We are expanding, bringing you even more racing, more coverage, and more ways to connect with the adrenaline-fueled world we love. Our commitment to the local racing community is unwavering, and the next chapter promises to be our most exciting yet.
Welcome back to LSRTV's coverage of the Full Throttle Sim Racing Mach 1 Performance Cup Series here live from the desert in Phoenix, Arizona. Great 1 mile D-shaped oval, I guess you could say. It's a really awkward track, but definitely one that can produce some good racing for sure. Saw a few drivers stay out under that last caution after the stage break. Jose Acosta, Brian Bliss, Jeff Chandler, Joshua Johnson stay out, and I assume that their tires will probably be shot from the rest of the field, so, well, not really be shot, but definitely going to be probably hindered a little bit more during this stint of the race compared to everybody else behind them. But here we go into the Geico restart zone. Jose Acosta gets a great restart, and remember, these drivers can't really dive below that line until after the start-finish line. Everybody fans out going into turn number 1. Jose's probably got the biggest gap we have seen so far on a restart tonight, making about 3 or 4 car lengths between him and Jeff Chandler, Jeremy, who moves up into the 2nd spot, able to clear Brian Bliss heading for 3.
We'll see exactly how long these older tires will last. It was only 25 laps, right? So why not gamble between stage 2 and stage 3? It's another short stint coming before the long one on stage 3. So yeah, I like the call. Keep out, get a couple laps. Let's see what your car does in fresh air. My couple notables will see how well Daniel Simmons gets back to front, or back to first place. Restarting in 5th, he's already up to 4th. And I'm also interested to see Nathan Bigart. I'm not too familiar with that name. He's definitely the points leader, but this is the first short track, so this is the first time we're going to see him on a non-super speedway or normal 1.5 mile cookie cutter configuration. So I got those two as my notable playbook. Here is the 0-1-3 wide Nathan Bigart, and it looks like he broke up just a little bit right there, came back, but that could have been big there 3 wide, but they keep it going.
Yeah, they keep... Charles in our ear says, somebody check his blinker fluid. Yeah, okay, buddy. Obviously, running joke in the car community. If you don't know what that means, definitely should look it up for sure. And obviously, Nathan Bigart, talk about him. He's been having a stellar season, to say the least. Came on very, very late into the game last year for the FTSR guys. And so far this season, Jeremy, I mean, you look at his stats, he's the points leader. One of the very few drivers to have, obviously, 2 top 5s. Only 5 drivers have done that so far this season, and that would be obviously Bigart, Grossi, Knopf, and Bliss, only ones to have top 5s this season, alongside with Nathan Bigart, who's done a great job in that number 01 machine all year long, been consistent, and expect big things out of 01 this season.
Man, did you see that last lap? I saw we cut back to it real late, but the 57, Joshua Johnson, big moment off of turn 2. Almost hit the inside wall, got big loose. Able to correct it right before hitting the wall, and he had a really low entrance in turn number 1 or 3 rather, and able to keep it going straight, which is important. But he lost a spot or 2 on that action, and now we got the 42 on the inside wall, or at least really far down on the apron there. So we'll go to the LSRTV replay and see what happened to the number 42 here.
Yeah, that's the 42 machine of Kyle Milliken and the Bell's Brewing Company Oberon machine off turn number 4 right here. You see him battling with Lane out. He's right behind Tony Solari, who's looking to have a good night as well. Has not had the best of luck so far this season. And Jeremy, just like we talked about, that transition down from the banking onto the apron, and because he is below what is deemed as the racing surface, no yellow came out for that one. So definitely going to set Kyle Milliken back quite a bit, and he finds himself 13 and a half, about to be 14 seconds back behind the leader. So you better hope that this race probably ends up going all the way to the stage 2 finish, and does definitely not want to be a lap down, because we know how hard it is to pass in this race.
Yeah, and it looks like the caution count is going to be really low from the rest of this point. How able they that tree start, they're able to space out so quickly. So at a minimum now, if you go a lap or 2 down, you're all but out of it. So you just have to just try your best not to do that, and stay safe out there. You got tons of laps. Remember, we've got another stage break coming up too. So you know, you get at least one guaranteed caution, but don't stuff anything further back than that.
Yeah, and you talk about that stage caution coming up. It is going to happen here in just 10 or actually 11 laps. Now we're on lap 40 out of the 50 in this one. Remember, end of lap 50 will be the completion of stage number 2, and then we will go green all the way to the end of lap 155, so just a little bit over 100 laps, but probably going to be a little less than 100 laps by the time they go green. Jamie Knopf able to retake the race lead from Daniel Simmons right now. He is up 2 spots. Richie Coy back there in the 3rd spot, and somebody to probably not sleep on in this race, Jeremy, would probably be Sherwood Williford in that 33 machine. We've seen him do a great job at the short tracks last year. He had a great finish in that 33 machine, and obviously he got a win last year at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I was able to participate in that race. Very, very tough race for me for sure. Came home 15th. That's all I could ask for, racing against these guys, because I know how strong and stout this competition is. But Sherwood Williford already up 7 spots from where he started, creeping his way further up into the top 10 right now.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good at the moment here as we're kind of cycling through the field. You see everyone just single filed out through the entire field. I don't see a single pass being made this lap here to complete lap number 42. And then Charles finds me the action there with the 2. Got a little bit loose off of turn number 2. He now tried to the outside of 3 and 4. He's going to be one of the few cars to run up above the yellow line there, coming into turn number 1. And now here comes the 6-7, trying to make a little bit run on the inside, as we got now a pass for the race lead.
Here we go. Daniel Simmons trying to retake the race lead from his teammate up there for the 1st and 2nd spot. Jamie Knopf having a little bit of connection issues, possibly. Blinker fluid is what we'll call the blinking out, obviously. Definitely wants to hopefully have that connection issue settled in pretty quickly. Does not want to drop out due to packet loss or whatnot while he's battling for the race lead against his teammate. And you see him doing it again down the back straightaway. Daniel Simmons comes right up the track in front of Richie Coy as they battle back again, going through 3 and 4. And now Knopf trying to pull away from his teammate Simmons, but Richie Coy right on the bumper almost of Daniel Simmons as they head back to turn number 1.
6 laps till stage break. You have 2 Chevrolets versus 2 Fords here. Richie Coy trying to put himself as high as he can in the end of stage number 2 here to maximize his points. He has to pass 2 really fast cars. I don't know if he can get both of them completed, but right now Daniel Simmons, without the fresh air on his nose, is not as fast. It looks like fresh air is king, even on the short track. Knopf is pulling away a little bit from the 06, and we did not see that in stage 1 at all. And I think that's just purely off of clean air on the nose. Richie Coy's car looks like it's a little more stable in this configuration. so he's able to maneuver his car a little bit better than Daniel Simmons, and I think he's going to make a great effort. But also Richie's very patient behind the wheel, so he might just hang tight for third. We never know with him. But really digging his Victory Fuel colors right now, that yellow to red fade. Beautiful car there.
Yeah, definitely a beautiful car, and obviously Victory Fuel coming on board this season for the FTSR guys. Also came on board with us over at Nerd TV, and they've obviously partnered up with Richie Coy. And remember, if you go to drinkvictory.com, you can make a purchase over there, buy their 2 electrolyte waters, either the lemon or the fruit punch flavor. Me and Jeremy got the opportunity to try the fruit punch flavor, or the throttle punch is what it's called. I really liked it. Really, really good. So if you want to go and try some yourself, you can go over to drinkvictory.com, use code KOI19 at checkout to save 10% off your order. And that Victory Fuel car might have a little bit in it, Jeremy, because he has been really fast here tonight. We know how good Richie Coy is when it comes to Phoenix. He was good last season in both races, and showing how strong he is here late in the going in Stage 2.
You never count Richie out, especially with that Victory Fuel behind him. It's going to bring him even more victories this season, guaranteed. But we're coming up to lap 50. This will be the final lap before we'll see the final stage caution here. And looks like Richie just did not have a good turn 2 exit, and he's going to back up a car length or so on Daniel, coming through turns 3, a little bit wide entry for the 42. And it looks like Richie's car was a little upset with that corner entry, a little looser on exit. So I think this will be a running order 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, final lap in stage number 1 here. Jamie Knopf able to pull away from his teammate Daniel Simmons. Battle's going to be there for second. Doesn't look like Richie Coy is going to be able to take that second spot. Got loose off turn number 2 and coming back through 3 and 4. This time it was, or last time it was Daniel Simmons. This time it's Jamie Knopf taking the stage win for stage number 2. Second place goes to his teammate there, Daniel Simmons. Third, Richie Coy. Fourth, Nathan Bigart. Fifth goes to Ben Tracy. Sixth is Grahava. Seventh, Acosta. Eighth, Williford. Ninth, Chandler. And 10th, TJ Bartell. That will wrap up stage number 2. And Jeremy, these 2 LA Motorsport guys seem like they probably have the best setup from what we've seen so far. Yeah,
100%. I would not count Richie out, but the way this 06 and 48 are running right now, it's just going to be really, really tough to compete with them. But we've had 2 short runs. Now we're into the range of 90-plus laps on this run, potentially, if they go green all the way to the very end of 155 laps. So it's going to be a different race. We had 2 short runs. Now we got the big long run ahead of us. And if you're going to make your adjustments, this is the stop to do it, because you're not going to have many opportunities to come down pit road from here. 1 green flag pit stop. I would imagine it's going to be really close in that fuel window, Jason, but I think they're going to have to pit 1 time.
Definitely probably going to have to pit 1 more time. We'll see. That's going to wrap up stage number 2. Jamie Knopf, your race leader, and stage number 2 winner. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back for the start of the final stage here at Phoenix.
We're a racing family that you can trust on and off the track. Here at Hercules Foundation Repair, we are here to help with our free in-home evaluations and personal repair plans. So if you're looking for foundation repair, go online or give us a call to schedule your free inspection.
Drag race to the line!
Of speed, 10 years of stories. For the past 10 years, we've been more than just spectators. We've been the heartbeat of local racing, growing alongside the tracks, drivers, and fans who make it all possible. From the dusty turns to the checkered flags, We've shared every triumph and every challenge, making memories that last a lifetime. As we mark this milestone, we're not just looking back, we're revving up for the future. We are expanding, bringing you even more racing, more coverage, and more ways to connect with the adrenaline-fueled world we love. Our commitment to the local racing community is unwavering, and the next chapter promises to be our most exciting yet.
Welcome back to LSRTV's coverage of the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series from the Full Throttle Sim Racing Series here at the Phoenix Raceway, the 1 mile D-shaped oval out in the desert in Arizona. Getting ready for stage number 3, and it should be an interesting one. LA Motorsports so far has pretty much dominated the first 55 laps between Daniel Simmons winning stage number 1, Jamie Knopf just picking up the stage number 2 win, and they're going to find themselves on the front row in their Team Conti Chevy Camaros. Behind them, you have Nathan Bigart, Richie Coy. Row number 3, you have Ben Tracy and Joseph Grajava, who has been slowly but surely making his way up into the top 5. We're going to see what they all have for the final stage. Green flag is back out in the air. Stage number 3 is underway. They all fan out down to the dog leg. Everybody nose to tail going into turn number 1. Simmons with the race lead. Door to door is Bigart and Knopf. But this time it looks like the 48 machine is going to get the run on the outside off turn number 2. Richie Coy now putting some pressure on the 01 heading for 3.
I love me some Phoenix starts and restarts. It reminds me of Pocono where they just go every which way before they get to turn number 1. Then they have to figure out real quick where their car is going to be to get back to single or at least double file there in the corners. And these guys do a great job. You're seeing the 48 go really high into turn number 1. You haven't seen too many cars run that high arc. But if you can make that work and your car rotates, that's excellent. It also puts the clean air on the nose. I was going to mention, too, Daniel Simmons back in fresh air since stage 1, right? So now we're going to see what that fresh air does to him. It's shown its benefits so far. So we're almost going to go 3 wide through the dog leg here on that 58. Then to go back to 2 wide there for 3rd and 4th. But yeah, right now the clean air seems to be king. But if Jamie Knopf can make the pass on Daniel Simmons, then it's shown that he's done a little bit something in pit road.
Just like we saw on Wednesday, this stint is going to separate the men from the boys. Who has got the better long-run car? Because we are probably anticipating long runs here from now on to the checkered flag. Maybe a couple cautions sprinkled in from drivers getting out of shape down into the dogleg and into turn number 1 like we've seen so far here tonight. There's some great battling going on here for 3rd. Nathan Bigart had that pressure from Richie Coy. He's able to take the 3rd spot, just clears him now heading into turn number 3. Talked about Joseph Grajava popping up possibly into the top 5. He now finds himself in that 5th spot. Took it away from Ben Tracy a few laps ago. And Jeremy, this battle is still going on here for 3rd. You can just see how badly Nathan Bigart wants that track position on Richie Coy as they head off too.
Yeah, he's yet to find that 0-1 in the top 3 cars. But that top 3 right now is going to be a really tough 3 to contend with, and we're going to see exactly what Nathan can do on the first short track race of the 2024 season, as they quickly have gone single file, Jason, until about 10th, 11th place. You see a couple cars right there really fanning out very bottom, someone in the middle, and then someone on the very top of the dogleg, and they all get back to turn number 1, and they figured out where they're going to be on the track, which I love that. I just love the dogleg configuration. I'm glad they opened it up. It was very weird to watch that at first, and people were like, can we even do this? But now it's become such a norm, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, I believe it was after 2011 is when they took away that portion of the racetrack, opened it up, they widened it out. Remember, that used to be all grass, and if you remember back, Jeremy, in 2011, there was a massive, massive wreck in the early stages of the Cup race in the springtime there, and I believe that was partially one of the reasons, or one of the many reasons why they opened up that dogleg. Just thought it was way too tight going in there with the amount of horsepower, but obviously I don't really think it would be that much of a difference now with obviously the amount of horsepower that's been decreased out of the Cup cars. They used to run about 9,000 to 10,000, or not 9,000, 10,000. What am I saying? They used to run it. I was about to say 9,000 horsepower as that's a rocket ship over there, but 900 to 1,000 horsepower back with the old COTs back in the day, and now currently running a 670 horsepower package when it comes to the short tracks and obviously the mile and a halves. Well, actually, I think the short tracks are still 750, but I know that they did that a couple years ago. But still, never the doubt, though, still some great racing, but that dogleg definitely opens up a lot of opportunities for drivers on the starts, the restarts, and every other which way around when it comes to laps here. You can make a lot of passes down there, and you're just seeing how tough it is here to pass. That's probably one of the only places you're seeing a lot of passes go on here tonight.
We need to go back to 800, 850 horsepower. The tire base is so wide in these next-gen cars. The power is acceptable, right? So I feel like they could do that and still produce an awesome race regardless. But, you know, it got more of that GT configuration between, NASCAR owns IMSA, so they kind of like made a baby of what they had in the Gen 6, and what they have now is, one car gets really tight there on the corner. That's Ben tracing the 35. He goes really wide on corner, which, by the way, I saw that in a lot of cars in practice were hitting that wall right at the start-finish line area, trying to maximize that exit. I'm surprised we haven't seen as many cars hit the wall in the race. I expect maybe one or two this much into the race, but these guys have kept it pretty clean so far.
Yeah, definitely. You talk about them coming off turn number 4, trying to maximize the momentum. And the thing is, Jeremy, I think compared to most racetracks, when you race here at Phoenix, is you feel so slow coming off turn number 4. I don't know about everybody else, but I know for my sake, anytime, whether it be a console game or even on iRacing, I always felt like coming off turn number 2 there, or rather off turn number 4. I'm thinking about old style Phoenix, but off turn number 4, which used to be turn number 2, because remember the start-finish line was back on the back straightaway many years ago. But with that being said, it's like turn 4, it's like if you don't hit your marks going through that corner, you'll either just get so tight that you just lose all the momentum, or you just try to make it such a perfect turn that you just don't even carry enough momentum off the corner and you just stall out. It just opens up a lot of opportunities for guys to get momentum down off turn number 4 and pass you down into the dogleg.
Yeah, for me, it's always 3 options on this newer configured track, which, by the way, that front stretch finish line got moved in 2019, so 5 years ago. It's amazing, 13 years ago, this track was reconfigured. It doesn't seem like it's been that long. 13 years, crazy amount of time has gone by since then. But for turn 4 exit, for me, it's either I push too wide and hit the wall, or I undercut it, like you said, and you feel like you're going slow and you can't really do much, or the car just gets loose and steps out, and I have to, slow down the whole straightaway. But look at this. The 19 of Richie Coy has passed Jamie Knopf, and now he's on the tail of Daniel Simmons. This could be the first car to lead this race outside of the pit strategy other than the 06 and the 48. So the 19 looks really fast, and I think if he can get that clean air on that nose of the 19 Ford Mustang, this guy is going to take off, and it's going to be a while before someone can catch him.
Richie Coy has not won a single race yet this season, and we're hearing it down in the pits. Our ice cream, or rather Jolly Rancher eating pit reporter, Mr. Charles Wooten, has an update for us. Charles, what do you got down there on pit road?
So we actually didn't go to pit road. We went to the office to get on the computer and look stuff up. Your 9,000 is a little on, but 7,000 would be a dragster. Like a top fuel dragster. So that's that. We were a little off on the rocket, so we wanted to factually give correct information. A rocket would be about 30 million horsepower. So we were a little off on that one. We just wanted to give that correct information out to people.
Well, thank you for making me look like an ass. I appreciate it.
I did say rockets. So.
Hey. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's funny. Me and Charles the other night, Jeremy, after one of the broadcasts, Charles was making me watch a bunch of RC cars that were practically rockets hitting upwards of, like, what was it, Charles? Like 250 miles an hour or something like that? But, oh my...
Great job. And I just want to throw one comment out to continue the rocket thing. But in your defense, Jason, There's different rockets with different amount of horsepower, so there's a wide variance in that department alone, so you can use that to your advantage to be somewhat factual. But jumping back to a little side-by-side action here, this is the number 12 and number 31, Joseph Grijalva and Jeff Chandler. And it looks like Jeff Chandler's going to momentarily give it up, and Joseph will cut in front of the number 31, Jeff Chandler, and he's going to get that spot there. A little three-car battle here with Ben Tracy right in front of him.
Yeah, great little battle going on right here between Joseph Grijalva and Jeff Chandler, obviously. Here between Joseph Grijalva and Jeff Chandler, obviously, down off turn number 2. That's the battle going on for the 7th position as they try to close up on Ben Tracy as they work on to lap 77 coming up here just momentarily. It's still really just the same guys we've seen so far up at the front. We saw how good Richie Coy was, put up a good battle with Daniel Simmons. I mean, Jeremy, do you think Richie Coy could possibly just be saving a little bit, knowing that this is a long run, try to pass him right before green flag pit stops? Because I think the 19 has the speed. I just don't know if he's as fast as that 06 machine, because by far, I think the 06 has been the best car out of the LA guys tonight.
I just know Richie can stay behind someone for 50-plus laps and know exactly what he's doing. So it's hard to tell if he's just lagging back a little bit here as we're right at the halfway mark of this race, or getting really close to it, rather. But he could just be lagging back a little bit. Maybe you'll probably make him see that pass effort here in the next 10, 15 laps. One of the long runs definitely settling into it's about, what, 80 to 90 laps on a set of fuel, or on a full tank of fuel, rather. So I think he's just playing the patience game, though sometimes his car does get a little out of shape, and he can't hold on. And I've been watching that time. He's fluctuating behind Daniel. He is 0.4 to 0.2 to 0.5 to 0.2. So it's not like he's consistently hugging behind the 06. So I honestly couldn't tell you, but he's a little bit loose right there in turn 2. Exit undercuts the corner exit, so maybe the 19 is a little bit ill handling right now.
Yes, definitely just saw him get a little bit loose there coming off turn number 2. Was able to maintain himself, though. Kind of almost fell back to the front bumper of Jamie Knopf off turn number 2, but again, gathered himself back up really nicely. And Jeremy, like I had mentioned before, the 19 is yet to find victory lane so far this season. And I know we're only 3, now make it 4 races after this one into the season. But, I mean, we're usually used to seeing Richie Coy as the points leader. For gosh sakes, he's down in 9th, back 37 points, and he's only got 1 top 5 so far this season, and he's made all 3 starts. But, I mean, if you want to take into account now, because obviously these guys base their schedule primarily off the real NASCAR Cup Series schedule. The same could be said for the trucks with the real Craftsman Truck Series schedule. Remember, at the start of this season, we didn't just have a super speedway and then went to a mile and a half. We didn't just go to a short track. We didn't go to Auto Club. Remember, Auto Club is no more as of today. So we went to Atlanta, just like the real Cup Series schedule, and Richie Coy found himself in a lot of trouble those first 2 races. Had that great run, probably you could arguably say was the best car last week at Las Vegas. Just couldn't get it done late in the go and got beat out by that guy right behind him, Jamie Knopf. I mean, I expect big things out of this 19 machine. I'm sure he'll win a few handful of races this season, but definitely a performance so far from the beginning of the season so far that we have not expected from Richie Coy.
Yeah, I mean, right now this is a good time. He's going to get passed here by the 40 of Jamie Knopf. That car is out of shape. Look at the leaderboard right now. He's 1 second back from Simmons, and 5 laps ago he was 0.2 to 0.3. So he has lost that car entirely. So now we're going to see the guys stack up behind him if they struggle to pass. You see him just kind of closing in a little bit here. Richie's got plenty of time still to cool off those tires and make things happen, but right now it is one of those things where you just have to let the car relax a little bit, cool off the tires where you can, and just kind of hold your ground at the same token, because we've still got a lot of laps left and 1 guaranteed pit stop. So if the 19 continues to feel this way, maybe he's going to shortcut a little bit to play the long game here.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. Obviously, you mentioned Daniel Simmons pulled out to a 1.3 second gap over the 2 drivers behind him, one of those being his teammate, who so far has been up in the top 3 all night long, just like his teammate Daniel Simmons, who is leading the race right now. And here's a big gaggle of trucks, or rather cars, still in my head from Wednesday night with the great race we saw. You see Lane Allen working right now on the back bumper of TJ Bartell, who currently sits just shy of the top 10 there in the 11th spot. Lane's been having a good solid night, up 6 spots from where he started. There's the 67 to James Wallace right behind them, and here comes the 14 on the outside of TJ Bartell, able to take that spot away, and Bartell looks like he's really struggling right now. Very well is opening up the door for Wallace. They're going to thread the needle there for just a second. Went 3 wide, back to 2, now back to single file as the 67 gets around the 11 here, coming off turn number 2.
I am seeing a lot of cars now be a little upset and just not handling right. You see Richie, he's bobbled big time on turn number 4. Well, Jamie cannot make the pass effort as he goes invisible. He definitely didn't check that blanket fluid that we've kept advertising earlier on, but they're looking to utilize that top lane, the bottom lane. Richie's trying to use the middle to kind of make the car feel as best he can. This is searching time. Got to find that lane. And the second and third groove have kind of opened up, especially in you'll see that in 1 and 2 often. 3 and 4, you'll rarely see someone run the top. There's just no speed up there. But 1 and 2, it's very cool to see when this race kind of goes into the 50, 60 lap range on tires. You can see cars run against the wall and run the yellow line and almost run identical lap time. So you see it once more, 48 to the top, 19 middle. And we're just kind of searching for the speed right now. It's a little car, or the 35 Ben Tracy makes contact there on turn 2 wall.
Yeah, and you have to be really careful there, Jeremy. Coming off turn number 2, it's kind of almost like a Richmond in a sense, because I know Richmond, out of most tracks that I've noticed, that outside wall off turn number 2 comes at you in a hurry, quicker than you probably think, and that's why you see so many incidents on iRacing come off turn 2 at Richmond. But here at Phoenix, we have seen a lot of guys here tonight brush the wall coming off turn number 2. He might do it again here, nearly brushes the wall off the corner, does not nearly get as good of an exit as Grijalva and Chandler do right in tow behind him. That's the battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th going on. But Jeremy, it gets really tight coming off turn number 2 because remember, it's a little bit wider going through 1 and 2, and then once you get off turn number 2, everything really kind of tightens up there off the corner.
It does. That wall comes at you in a hurry if you're too focused on maybe the person in front of you or someone on the side of you. That wall just sneaks up real quick because they almost make contact, I think, once more there on turn 2 exit. You see Jose Acosta on the inside of Jamie Knopf, who I thought he was going to make the pass for sure on Richie Coy. Then all of a sudden, he's starting to fall back, and here comes the long run, guys. Acosta is definitely the fastest one in my book, minus the 0.6 of Daniel Simmons, who's got a 3-second lead as we see the 12 really off pace here in turns 1 and 2.
That's Joseph Grijalva, the number 12 machine. Something of a miss on the Ford Mustang. We're going to take a look here at the LSRTV replay. Battling with Ben Tracy and Jeff Chandler. This is coming off turn number 2, assuming this happens coming off turn 4. Down into the dogleg, like we say. And Jeremy, how much you want to bet right here? It happens probably when he hits that dogleg transition and probably gets loose. We're about to find out right here, going down into the dogleg. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Called it. You owe me about $1 million, so I don't know if you got that, but that's what I'm asking for right now, so take it or leave it. But a big moment there for the 12 machine, just slaps the wall, and Jeremy, I wonder if we're going to see more of that here as this run progresses before we see these last green flag pit stops.
How are you going to ask me to take it or leave it at $1 million? Of course I'm not giving you the $1 million. That's just not possible.
I think you will.
But that was huge, though. What a... we talked about, like, at least I did early on, that it doesn't really upset the car, but when you're 60 laps into a run, I guess all of a sudden we're what, 50 laps into the run here roughly? So the tires are heating, starting to wear in pretty good, and he just hit that bump. 41 laps? Okay, I can't count. Thank you for that update. But yeah, it just really upset the car, and that was a huge correction there that
we got a yellow.
Grijalva had to make. And looks like our third yellow,
oh no,
fourth yellow this evening. It's getting involved. Kyle Milliken, and someone else's nose is sliding down the track, so that might be his own right there.
Yeah, and we're going to take a look here at the LSRTV replay. In Germany, it did unfortunately involve the number 12 of Joseph Grijalva. Saw him pretty much nearly stopped, I believe, coming out of turn number 4, and this is coming out of 2 right now. You see Grijalva just shy of the picture out of there. There he is, second car. And here he is coming into the corner. Just runs right up on the back of James Wallace, unfortunately. Kind of overestimates, overcorrects, big overcorrect. Right into the 42, comes right down in front of Chad Lang's Pepsi machine. And unfortunately, a 3, nearly 4 car incident. Great job by James Wallace to be able to hold his own there after getting a little tap in the left rear quarter panel and bumper from the number 12. Here's the onboard from Kyle Milliken, and Jeremy, there is just nothing you can do when you're Kyle Milliken in this situation, probably.
A little bit of a mishap there on Joseph Grajava. I know you're trying to keep the car from spinning out, and you're doing all you can, so you're turning the opposite direction to straighten it out, but that was just, you can't do that right in front of traffic, and you just know, he's like, okay, he's going to stay low, and just, it whipped so hard to the right, and then the car brakes, goes straight into the outside wall, and I see Joseph's right front tire, it's pushed in, it's no longer operational. So I think it's still an 8-minute requirement to fix the toe link and whatnot on that car, but man, that was heavy impact for the 42 and 12.
And it looks like the race 1 off pit road is from the 06 machine of Daniel Simmons. Hopefully going to try to see if he could stay in that spot come into this race. Real quick, we're going to take our last commercial break. We'll be right back for what would be possibly the final restart tonight. We'll take you all the way to the checkered flag. We'll be right back after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to LSRTV's coverage of the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series, getting ready for what could be the final restart of the evening here tonight. Jason Rockfell alongside Jeremy Stanley up in the booth, and Charles Wooten pushing the buttons, having a bag of Jolly Ranchers on the desk here tonight, getting ready as the ASMR's in my ear. I did not need to hear that. Hopefully we don't see another yellow. We're about to find out. Green flag's back out in the air. Did Simmons right back where he left off at the end of that stint. Back to turn number 1. He's got Jose Acosta, Jeremy, who's been so strong all night long. See a little bit of a tangle up in the back. No yellow necessary. They keep it green. But Jeremy, Joseph Grajava, or rather actually Jose Acosta, is on the move, and he might have something for this 06 car.
Yeah, Daniel did not want to see that caution, having a 3-second lead over everybody else. But now I'm interested in Jose Acosta, who worked his way on that long run to get the P2. And now he has a chance, if he can maintain that position on track for the next 30 or 40 laps, if it goes green the whole way, in the final 20 laps, I think that 24 is going to have the best chance out of anyone to pass the 0.6. And time will tell, of course. Jose Acosta, we know he's fast. He's got opportunities, and getting pretty racy here for 3rd through 6th.
Yeah, you see him, he has moved up into that second spot, and boy, he has turned on the jets because he is not letting Daniel Simmons out of his sight. Gap's about 4 to 5 tenths of a second right now as he holds off his teammate Jamie Knopp from LA Motorsports right back behind him, who's under 5. Oh, no! Jeff Chandler up and into the wall off turn number 2. Thankfully does not cause an issue. Could very well hurt that car. But remember, Jeremy, Jose Acosta won the last time we were in Phoenix in 2023. C led 137 laps. That's nearly half. Not even nearly. That's more than half the distance of what the regulated race time is, 155 laps tonight. That is crazy, and he very well could be the sleeper pick. But not even necessarily a sleeper pick coming in here tonight. I had on my race notes that he was one to watch out for. And surely enough, he is turning some of the fastest lap times. Daniel Simmons last time around ran the fastest lap of the race, but Jose Acosta just ran his fastest lap that time by of the race. Don't count out that 24 machine.
He's got somewhat clean air on that nose of that Chevrolet right now. And with that long run set up underneath him, I watch out for that 24. He is my sleeper pick. Of course, you can't count out the 06 of Daniel Simmons, who's been so much faster. The 40 of Jamie Knopf has just lost a little bit of that momentum that he had from stage 1 and 2. So 24 and the 06 are my two favorites. I don't think anyone else has anything for them, but you never know. You never know. So that last pit stop, we could have seen some changes that could have helped. Maybe like the 19, if the 31 can keep it up the pace and not hit the wall again, he might have a chance as well.
Jose Acosta just put up about 0.2 gain on the 06 machine, this time by the line. Lap 105 goes up on the board now as they head back into turn number 1. Some more shuffling going out throughout the back of the pack here, rather middle. Tony Solari trying to get a top 10 here tonight, maybe even could get better. We'll have to see what he's able to do, battling with Brian Bliss off turn number 2, back to turn 3 as they follow right behind. TJ Bartel this time off turn number 4, and Jeremy, Tony has taken some really wide arcs off the corner. Don't know if it's just because he's got somebody on his inside, but noticing he's really high in 1 and 2 and then coming off 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's rubbered up a little bit up there, so some drivers are utilizing that second and third groove a little bit more. It's still a little too early, I think, on the short run, but if your car feels comfortable up there, you might just want to keep it up there for the remainder of the race. And it looks like Tony's even utilizing that second and third lane in 3 and 4, which is more of a rarity than it is in 1 and 2. So you just kind of, maybe that car is just running a little bit too free on the bottom or a little bit too tight on the bottom, and utilizing that second groove, it has a touch bit more grip to kind of keep that car straight and point in the right direction.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, too, not even back in the day, just a handful of years ago, back before they brought the 750 horsepower package back on the shorter tracks, the 1 miles and under. I remember, Jeremy, remember when they used to have the 550 high downforce package? It was not a rarity to run up there like Tony Solari is off of 3 and 4, but obviously times are changed now. New car, new year, different kind of package, different tire width, all different components and parts in these race cars, especially on the sim world. You can't really do that, but he's been kind of making it work. You see him enter a little bit lower that time by, not nearly as high as he's been off turn number 4. And by the way, Tony Solari also looking for his first top 10 of the season. I remember we talked to him last week after some issues, said he just wanted to finish all the laps. So knock on wood, hopefully that happens for Mr. Solari here tonight as he continues to battle with those 3 cars, both Bliss, Bartel, and also Lane Allen. As you take a look here back, this is going for 7th. Ben Tracy, Sherwood Williford, Brian Dublé showing some speed here late in the going as we're under 50 laps to go.
Ben Tracy runs a little bit wide that time off of turn 4, almost hit that wall. I don't not believe he did so, but they still remain side by side now almost for an entire lap. And I think Sherwood's going to have the edge if he can get the power down a little bit. He might have had a moment of clearness, but he obviously did not take it because he did not want to block the 35 of Tracy. They remain completely side by side now through 3 and 4 this time to complete lap 110. 33 Wilford a little bit loose. It opens a door for him to go really low there on the dog leg. Comes back up the track and loses that spot. Ben Tracy holds on to 7th.
Yeah, great recovery there for the 33 of Wilford. Nearly thought he was going to lose it when he hit that dog leg coming off turn number 4 because of how loose he got off the corner. Falls back to the front bumper now. All of Brian Dublé. See some more battling back here between James Wallace and Ryan Hedrick, 2 drivers who were involved in a couple of incidents going on earlier on in the night. They battle after the start-finish line, heading for turn number 1. It looks like Wallace able to clear himself Now he's going to be able to go to the inside of Ryan Hedrick, and right behind him, Dave Nestor, who was involved in one of those earlier incidents. He finds himself just outside the top 15, trying to pick up a couple spots right here now as they head back to turn 3.
And they go single file there through 3 and 4. And looks like a lot of the field has done so for the most part. Daniel Simmons has a half a second lead over Jose Acosta. As we go to the aerial camera here from the blimp, you can just see how spaced out this middle pack has gotten right now through 1 and 2 this time. You see 6 cars on your screen. Everybody else is outside the frame, and this is taking up a good chunk of this 1 mile facility. So it just kind of shows you how spaced out things have gotten. If you go back to 10th place, it's 4.5 back of your race leader right now. This is just right along time. Just kind of save the tires where you can. And then if you got that long run setup, which from that last night we saw quite a few movers make a huge advancement through the field after 40 laps onto the run. So we could see that play out once more if we go green the rest of the way.
Very well could see it. We're obviously still in question about possibly the opportunity at a late race yellow. We had some in the truck race on Wednesday night. Don't believe we went into overtime. Maybe possibly, if Charles could recollect on that. But obviously still the opportunity for a caution. We did not go into overtime. Charles believes so. So as he continues to eat his Jolly Ranchers and pushes all the buttons, everybody's still wrapping around 3 and 4 right now. This is probably the biggest pack that's grouped up on the racetrack right now, from second on back to Jeff Chandler, who, Jeremy, despite hitting the wall there off turn number 2, doesn't look like that car has been affected that much. He is the biggest mover in the race so far with 8 positions gained. That's the highest up in the running order, so having a great run despite hitting the wall earlier on.
I've seen a lot of cars through this field that have been +8 right now. We have Jose Acosta running second. He's up 8 spots. Jeff Chandler, he's up 8. Sherwood Williford up 8 as well, and Alan Duranco and Alan Crowell both up 8 positions from their starting spots. So quite a few movers up to the front, and of course that brings some people to the back, like some of the cars that are out of the race. Colton Gull -20, Joseph Gahalva -14 after his incident there. So there's been quite a few positions flip-flopped drastically. Not too many people that have been down 1 or up 1. It's just a lot of big moving, and that was most likely due to that long run that we had prior to that last caution, where people were able to utilize that setup to its full extent, make the passes happen, and now we have a little bit shorter run on this one to end the rest of this race. So I think this is where it's going to get really interesting to watch these guys back in 3rd, 4th, 5th place. Do they save, and do they make that late run charge?
Yeah, definitely going to be something we'll have to see. And Jose Acosta is continuing to gain. And in fact, he actually lost a lot of ground, Jeremy, just a handful of laps ago. He was back by about almost 8/10. He closed it up to about 3. Now he kind of starts to dwindle towards the negative side a little bit. But I truly do believe in everything in that 24 machine. I do believe when it comes to this long run here, and that's if we get this super long run to the finish like we're anticipating. As you see, the 06 machine brushes the wall off turn number 4. You can just see he's starting to get a little tight. Jeremy, I think this 24 definitely has something for this 06, no question.
Yeah, 1 minute there. I figured maybe about 20 laps to go we'd see him make the charge, but right now with 35 to go at the line, he's almost already there. And you said he's running his fastest lap times underneath that fresh air early on from the restart, and so a little bit of puff of smoke there from the 06 getting right up to the outside wall on corner exit turn 4. But this 24 Jose Acosta, I think now he is my favorite. If it stays green the rest of the way, do not be surprised that Jeff Gordon throwback is going to be in P1.
Remember, Jeff Gordon won the Phoenix race here in the fall of 2011, I believe is when it was. And yes, it was. It was driving that Drive to End Hunger machine. Got past Kyle Busch late in the race. Beautiful race win diecast if anybody wants to go try to check that thing out. It's got a big yellow stripe, I believe it is, down the side of that car. So that battle for the lead possibly could be happening soon. Here's the battle going on between Lane Allen, TJ Bartell back here. That's the battle for 12th, just shy of the top 10. As they work off turn number 2, Lane gets a little bit loose, nearly had to check up, and he does. ends up having the 67 to James Wallace head up to the outside, brings Ryan Hedrick into the battle as well. Dave Nestor trailing right behind there. They could very well go 3 wide here for just a second. Everybody stays up above the dogleg. Besides Lane Allen, back to turn number 1. They continue to duke it out here. The 14 machine very well could start to have some handling issues. As you see them work off turn number 2, nearly making contact with the 47.
What a great race here with the 14 laying down on the 47. Ryan Hedrick still side by side. The 47 might edge him over there as the 14 had to get off the throttle to not make contact to that left rear. So they go back to single file momentarily. But these little group of cars right here, they've been pretty racy for the past 10 laps or so. And so I'm going to keep my eyes peeled on this battle because it's going to get probably more intense as this run continues.
Yeah, you see the 98. Oh, that almost was a caution right there. Possibly the 98 brushes the wall. James Wallace does a great job maneuvering around the 98 machine there. Nearly ran into the back of him off turn number 2. These guys battling really hard, and this is only the battle for the 13th position. So I think, Jeremy, if there probably were to be a yellow, it might come from this group right here just because of how hard they're racing. We're going to take a look right quick off turn number 2. See if anybody gets loose, tight. They all make it through the corner pretty well. Lane Allen got a great run on the 47, said I'm not going to do anything with it. Now he will as he heads back to the inside, heading through turns 3 and 4. Under 30 laps to go now as they hit the start-finish line, this time by gap up front. Still about 2 to 3 tenths of a second, but Jose Acosta running a little bit faster than the 06 of Simmons back up at the front. So very well, good starting to be turning on the jets and putting the pressure on to the Simmons machine up front.
Yeah, he's been hanging about 2 to 3 tenths the past couple laps, but Jose is just, he's creeping into that range now. I think next lap he's going to be within a tenth at the start finish line, or 2 tenths. A little bit lost ground there on corner exit turn 2, but the entrance is where Jose has got him, which before it was the exit, now it's been the entrance. So it's a little bit different of a race now for the 24. I don't know if that's going to affect his long run approach. When he had to battle a bunch of cars, he was able to, be a little more patient. But now with this clean air, he's been racing a little bit different behind the 06 than what he did before. So it's just, I'm curious. This is just his time where he's just going to wait, or if he's under attack now and just doesn't have the handling like he has. But I expected to be a 10th, but now he's almost back to 4 tenths as we track back here. This little racy pack here of 4 cars going to turn 3 and 4.
I think the 24's best place on the racetrack and the best couple of corners would be 3 and 4. I noticed that he's been getting great runs off turn 4 compared to Daniel Simmons. Great entry as well, as you see the battle still going on back there. But there he is. Watch this entrance going into turn number 3. That time doesn't get nearly as low as we've seen him, but watch this exit coming off the corner. You could just see that he's just a little bit better. That gap kind of closes up just a tiny bit if you focus in enough coming off turn number 4. But then coming into 1 and 2, this is where the 06 has been really good. I feel like he's been able to kind of maintain right above that seam, cut down enough to get the run off turn number 2 and have Jose Acosta be kept at bay. And obviously, Jeremy, you also mentioned dirty air being a factor. We know how aero sensitive these cars are, and now we have a new term in the garage area in NASCAR called air blocking. And we've talked about it from time to time back in, a few years ago, but now I feel like it's more detrimental than ever, obviously, besides the 550 horsepower high downforce package. So it's really important to have that clean air here, and I think that that's definitely what could be hindering the progress of the 24 machine, as you see a great battle going on with Richie Coy and Jamie Knopf here going into turn number 3.
Yeah, excellent battle here. Richie getting loose once more, as we saw that on the long run, that last stint there. So that car getting looser a little bit earlier into this run is a telling sign that he's going to have a struggle for the final 23 and a half laps here, as now he is under fire once more by the 0-1. Little puff of smoke off a turn 2 exit, able to maintain that spot over Nathan, single file through 3 and 4. And that little battle for position costed them a second, or at least a half a second. Third place is over 2 back from your race leader.
Yeah, and you see the battle back down into 1 and 2. Now Nathan Bigart starts to kind of trail up the racetrack. Richie Coy able to hold them off at bay. Jeff Chandler following them in tow. Back to turn number 3 they go. Everybody single files back out as they're about to hit the start-finish line. 22 laps to go, this time by at the line. And as they do hit it now, it's actually 23. Nope, 22 laps to go. And you see Bigart still trying to work on Richie Coy, trying to get another top 5 added on to his resume so far this season. That is the battle for the 5th spot. Richie Coy trying to hold him off, and he will off the corner, just barely clears him, but Bigart thought about looking to the bottom. He'll stay right tucked up behind the 19.
31 drives it in deep that time. Almost got to Nathan's rear end there as Nathan's a little bit loose, going to cut it real low there on the dog leg to make up that little ground, and gets not cleared of the 31 up until the very center of turn 1 that time around. Looks like Jeff Chandler has a much faster car right now. He might make this pass effort on the bottom. He puts his nose there, and he's going to have that bumper from the 0-1 going through turns 3 and 4. Owen's going to drive it up next to the wall and able to make that stick, so momentarily still holds it over the 31, Jeff Chandler.
Jeff Chandler's just been doing a great job with that wall damage that he got earlier on a handful of laps ago. So obviously it has not affected his race. Must have just hit it pretty square on to not create a ton of damage to that race car. But there he is down to the inside again of Nathan Bigart. This is just a great battle going on, and definitely Bigart or Coy do not want to fall out of the top 5. Only one of these drivers will finish in that 5th position if the race were to be concluded right now. You see Richie back down to the bottom. He'll trail back up top now. Going into what? Oh no! Richie Coy up and into the wall. Something of a miss on the 19 machine. Very odd. Do not know what happened there. Possibly something out of the system. Not too sure. A tiny bit of that damage, but I can only imagine that he is going to be struggling here in that dirty air come this restart. I mean, Jeremy, 12 laps to go. I mean, this is looking like it's going to be a battle between the 06 and the 24. We know the 06 has had the short run speed, but Jose on that last restart was right there to pounce if anything were to happen. I just don't know who to really go with.
Yeah, it's tough. I thought Jose was actually falling off a little bit, and I think the wind was going to go to Daniel, but now the tires are going to be cooled off, so we have not seen older tires cooled off here on this final little run. So it's going to be different. It's going to be very different to see exactly what happens here. And yeah, this is going to be a whole new race. You got some cars in front. I think they're taking the wave around, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a tough pick, man. It's anyone's ball game what's in this top 5, I think.
Yeah, it definitely could be anybody's ball game here, because we have seen, and remember, Jeremy, and this is how good my memory is when it comes to stuff like this, is I remember last year when I came on board with Nerd TV to help you guys out, I remember our first race together was the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series race right here, this very race at Phoenix, and I remember we had a late race restart. They got really aggressive, I believe, and the Moreau brothers took one another out, and Richie Coy was involved, and a bunch of others. It is not out of the question that these guys could battle so hard going into 1 and off 2 that we very well could see these two possibly come together.
And it's late in the going. It's a short track mentality. Anything is possible. One simple error or one little, hey, I think I can bump this guy out of the way and take that spot from him type situation. And we could see a big mess, or we could see what we've exactly seen so far in the back half of this race, which is really clean racing. Very minimal passing, and we got a half a lap on this, so 9 laps to go at the line on this restart. 9 laps to get the job done. 06 is on the bottom, 20 top. I think the 06 is going to cut early on that dog leg, try to get clear the 24. But the 24, if he can make turns or magic happen in 1 and 2 to get a good run on the 06 and 3 and 4, watch out for this 24 Jose Acosta.
Daniel Simmons, 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s out of the 3 races this season, yet to have a win. Jose Acosta, the 2023 Season C winner here back in November. We know how aggressive he can be. It's about to come down to these final 9 laps. Green flags back out in the air. They come through the restart zone after the start-finish line. Nearly an equal restart between the 24 and 06. Back to turn number 1. What will the 06 do? Acosta's right on the door. Entering 1 and 2. He might try the crossover. Will he get the run off the corner? Simmons looks to clear him off turn number 2 and bring Jamie Knopf. Oh, there we go. Jeff Chandler up into the wall. Backs up the field. Other drivers get collected. Massive wreck coming out of turn number 2. Hard impacts by a lot of drivers. 5, 6, 7, maybe more cars as they pile up from turn 2 all the way down to turn number 3.
The biggest wreck here this evening, under 10 laps to go as we jump to the LSRTV replay. Jeff Chandler smashes the wall, but he kept it going straight, so I'm curious to see how he got into that second predicament there. We're going to be on TV camera with Chandler in the 31. Off turn 2, just really wide, hits the wall a little bit, gets loose, hits the wall. And then I can't tell if the 47 sent him back to the outside wall or if he just had tire spin and went back to the outside by himself.
I think they just stacked up right there, Jeremy, coming off turn number 2, because if you watch this again, here's a great angle, by the way, provided by LSRTV aerial coverage, and you're going to see the 31 here. Watch this bobble that he has coming off turn number 2, and it's almost like Jeff kind of underestimated the amount of room he was going to have coming off this corner. Here we go, through the center of 1 and 2. Watch this bobble. It's going to happen right here. There he goes. He's going to head up the racetrack and stays in the gas, pounds the wall, and then here comes the 47. He tries to check up, gets into him, and then it all just unfolds from there. It just creates a massive stack up, takes out a lot of guys, the 54, the 67, the 14, the 98. Lots of guys are involved in this one. And Jeremy, this is going to bring us into a super late race restart right here. Not going to bring us into overtime, but definitely another opportunity here for Jose Acosta to possibly learn from what he just did under that previous restart and try to execute it better on this one.
Yeah, for sure. And what some really hard hits there in that wreck, and thankfully they're in a virtual race car because that could have caused some damage there. And yeah, that's going to restack him up one more time. I thought Jose Acosta did a perfect job restarting exactly the same time Daniel did, so they tied each other at the line, but just that underhanded dogleg cut there for Daniel got him into position in turn 1 and 2 to hold on to that spot. So Jose, he doesn't need to do anything different timing that start, but what he needs to do is go down as far as he can with the 06 to match his racing line to give him the best chance in 1 and 2, because that dogleg is playing a huge dividend for the 06 right now.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to have to take a look, assuming we're going to get the 1-to-go signal this time by. And it has been an interesting race up here at the front between Daniel Simmons, Jose Acosta, Jamie Knopf, who kind of fell off, Jeremy, after that second stage. Remember, picked it up, and then he just kind of traveled back to third and was really just stuck there. We saw him battling right in the top 5. Hasn't really been able to do anything, but don't count him out if these two get side by side. We know Jamie is a really good driver on late race restarts, especially when there's pressure on him. We very well might be able to see this 48 just take one away from these two.
I mean, he has the opportunity. If he can get a great launch, he can at least take over the Jose spot. I don't know if he's going to have a chance for Daniel Simmons. I think it's going to be a big hiccup from that 06 Chevrolet Camaro to give anybody else a chance at victory, or at least from third on back. So I'm really interested to see how the 24 is going to start with the 06, and then see Richie Coy up there in 4th. He might do a little short run there. He's loose on the long run, but the short run, he might go all in here and try to crack into the top 3.
And we're going to have to find out and see. This time, it's going to be 4 laps to go at the line. Reset, restack them, re-rack them. Picture perfect, just like it was in the last restart. Can the 06 get the restart like he did last time around? Will the 24 have anything and be able to learn from his mistakes on the previous restart? Here we go. Through 3 and 4. Back to the Geico restart zone. 4 laps to go in the Arizona desert. Green flag is back out. This time Acosta gets a better restart than the 06 machine. They're door to door. Back to turn number 1. What will happen off 2 is going to be the question. This could be all Jose Acosta needs. coming through 1 and 2. Simmons drives it in, makes contact with the 24, sends him up the racetrack. They're door to door off turn number 2, heading for 3, wrecking the back lane. Allen goes around, and we're going to be under another caution. This is going to bring us under into the first attempt at a green-white checkered finish or overtime here at Phoenix.
Back to the LSRTV replay to see what happened here. Third through the pack. And while we're waiting for that to happen here on camera, the 24 Jose will control the restart here with the first green-white checkered attempt. So right now we're 3 wide, 31, 14, 36. Coming off turn number 2, there's just not enough room. 31 Jeff Chandler doesn't recognize the 3 wide there, puts them in a little pinch. They make contact, spin out, and they hit the wall pretty decent amount there for a little 3-car stack them up. And not too much damage overall, but late in the going here, you just got to full send it from this point forward.
Yeah, and now look at this. This is flip-flopped up here at the race lead. Jose Acosta and Daniel Simmons on flip-flop positions up at the front of this field. Richie Coy finds himself 3rd, and Jamie Knopf finds himself P4. So a flip-flop of both the first 2 rows here. And, I mean, Jeremy, Jose Acosta is going to have a better restart for sure here. I mean, we know how aggressive he is. He already restarted first at one point during this race, and he took off very early in the restart zone and pulled out to a bigger gap than most of what anybody has done tonight if you've been the race leader. So, I mean, if you're the 24, what do you got to do in this situation? And if you're Daniel Simmons, what do you got to do? Because you haven't had to restart second all night long.
Well, if you're the 24, you start on the bottom. He did an excellent job. He actually outdid himself from the prior restart, and he had the nose, which I'm sure Daniel's like, how did he actually jump me and get away with it? I don't think it was a jump. I think he was just a little bit late on the pedal there, and the 24 just took advantage of everything he could and made it happen. He could have cut down in front of him early in turn 1, did not do that, and was able to control the ground there. It would have been a very fun race if they went green the rest of the way, but now since they're going to have at least one more restart here, 24, I think he's going to be able to clear Daniel Simmons no problem on this restart. And so he's got the pressure on the nose. It's the first time we've seen it. And the 06 wasn't, I mean, he's obviously he's fast. He's top 3 material for sure. But with the dirty air on his nose, his car just tightens up a little bit. And I don't know if he's going to have what it takes to get around Jose.
Yeah, we're going to have to find out, assuming we're going to get the one to go right here this time by. And Richie Coy is right there to pounce on these 2. Despite that right front damage from the earlier mishap that we still are scratching our heads over because it was just such an odd incident that now he finds himself P3 after all that happened. So a great rebound for Richie Coy. Very well could be talking to him here in the post-race podium interviews after this is said and done. And also, you look at everybody else throughout the field. Lots of drivers. Brian Dublé, after that incident earlier on in the race, he finds himself P7. Great run tonight. Ryan Hedrick, he's been involved in a few incidents, finds himself P8. Sherwood Williford, still up into that top 10. Had a great run here last spring. Having a great run here tonight in the Mountain Dew Dale Jr. colored machine. And we're going to see what everybody else can do on this restart. I mean, Jeremy, we know that the 06 can glay the bumper if necessary. We saw how aggressive he can be, but the question is, how aggressive do you be without taking yourself out?
I guess it depends on if you feel like this is like one of these racetracks that you have to do well at to put yourself in contention, or if you know you're going to be doing well the rest of the season, then you don't push the issue as much. Like maybe you just accept 2nd or 3rd place and just know that you're going to be in the playoffs and play the long game. Or if you're one of those guys, like I said, if you just this is your track, like this is the opportunity to win and you're not feeling well for the remaining scheduled races, that's going to be how you play this restart here. And we're about to go see it. We're in the Geico restart zone, green flag, and the 06 does a decent job, but the 24 gets the jump, gets the dog leg cut, and here we go. 19's the bottom here, and the 06 might be shuffled out of 2nd place and even 3rd.
Oh, and Richie Coy, he tried to send it off in there. He got really tight trying to get to the bumper of Grajava, or rather Jose Acosta, off turn number 2. Everybody looks to be clean in green, back to 3 and 4. Richie Coy somehow is pulling this off in 2nd. He might have a shot here, Jeremy, with that damage. Oh, Daniel Simmons up and into the wall. So is Jamie Knopf. Massive crash out of the start-finish line. Final lap. White flag is out. They wreck behind him, but Richie Coy is still right there on Jose Acosta. Back to 3 and 4. And Richie's going to have one more opportunity. Will he lay the bumper down to the 24? He's going to send it in, but it's not going to be enough. Jose Acosta back-to-back Phoenix wins in the desert. He wins the Phoenix 250K for the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series. Richie Coy rebounds to finish second and puts up the fastest lap of the race. That last time around, Nathan Bigard comes home P3. Jeremy, what an eventful last couple laps. What a finish. What a great job and execution by Jose.
Nathan Bigard, the only time he's been in third place or up was that very last lap. Huge heartbreak for the 48.06. They had the cars and just did not get the result there with that late miscue there for sure. And I'm sure Jose is excited when we talk to him. I'm sure he's going to be just full of joy in his voice. I can't wait to interview him, but he's burning it down real good right now on the front stretch here. Job well done from this 24. That long run definitely set this car up for success.
Definitely set it up for a long run of success, and even if so, you could say a short run, because that's all he needed was that little bit of short run, 2, 3, 4, 5 laps to get it done. And he does just that here tonight in Phoenix. Let's take a look real quick at the unofficial race results presented by LiveSimRacingTV.com. Jose Acosta, race winner. Richie Coy tried it all. Comes home P2 tonight. Nathan Bigard, P3. Great finishes for Brian Dublé and Sherwood Williford, who were in the top 10, but find themselves in the top 5. You have Brian Bliss, Ben Tracy, Daniel Simmons, even after that wall contact, finds himself P8. Jeff Chandler, despite wrecking, same with Ryan Hedrick. They're going to round out 9th and 10th here tonight for your top 10.
11th on 20th, it's Brody Hanna, P11, James Wallace, 12th. Chris Beck finishes 13th. Alan moves up to 14th, up 12 spots, too, so great job from that 54 car. Dave Nestor finishing 15th. Lane Allen, 16th. Jamie
unfortunately comes home dead last tonight. 157 laps down. We're going to take a quick break, wrangle up our top 3, and me and Jeremy are going to talk to them here in post-race, so stay tuned. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the FTSR Mach 1 Performance Cup Series, just wrapping up here at Phoenix in a thriller, yet to be disappointed by all the races this year. Jeremy Stanley, Jason Rockefeller, Charles Wooten up here in the booth, and we're going to bring in Nathan Bigard coming home P3. Nate, you had a really strong run all night long, man. Just consistency that just keeps on going this season, man. And I could only imagine how you feel knowing, and I'm sure that win's coming pretty soon.
Yeah, it's been a great start of the season for me. Great group of guys to race with for sure. Learning from them. A lot of fast guys in here. I'm not so sure there on the white flag lap. just pushing hard out of turn 4, and I think it was like a net code thing. We come together, and then his teammate got collected trying to miss him after, so I definitely feel bad about that and just want to throw out an apology. But yeah, just going hard, you know, green, white, checkered, trying to get everything I could.
All right, Nate, with that being said, man, P3 tonight, who do you got to thank for that great run?
Just got to thank the league themselves, FTSR. Appreciate them letting me in. It's been a ball. Really enjoying racing with these guys on Monday nights. Thank Fuego Motorsports and Fuego Paints for the paint job on the car and inviting me into the league. You know, being on his team, Joe's definitely having a tough start, so hopefully he can get his things worked out and get a good finish one of these nights here. But give a shout out to LSRTV doing a broadcast. You guys do a great job, man. I really enjoy you guys' broadcast more than anyone else I've ever watched for iRacing, so definitely a shout out there. All the fans watching, and #1 fan always watching me. Love you, Mom.
Always got to thank Mom, for sure, no doubt about it. That's Nathan Bigart coming home P3 tonight here from the Arizona desert. And now we'll head over, and man, I hate to say it again, Richie, but man, the bridesmaid, once again, 2 weeks in a row. Don't mean to rub it into you, but man, I just want to ask, and I think we all probably want to know, what the heck happened there going into turn 1? It's like all of a sudden you got in there, we heard a little bit of tire squeal, and then all of a sudden the car just shot right up into the wall out of nowhere.
I was too busy looking in my mirror instead of looking where I was going, and then I went by my lifting mark by a sign and a half, and I tried not to go through the wall and just bumped it quite a bit, I guess. I don't know. It was a lack of these cars are so hard to drive on when you get to the end of the run like that it was like I was so worried about where I was on the racetrack that I didn't actually pay attention to where I was on the racetrack. It just lost focus going into one. Stupid, but yeah, what are you gonna do? I need to get somebody to marry me because I keep being the bridesmaid here, man.
Well, I mean, sooner or later you might find someone here. But hey, Jersey, this is Jeremy. Second time I got to speak to you this year. Great run overall. Your car was a little bit loose on the long run, which I was kind of surprised.
A lot loose.
Yeah, and then when you hit that wall, I guess my follow-up question to that is, did it tighten it up? Because you finished P2 tonight, and we didn't really see you up there in the middle in the late half of the run. So how did you find yourself into that spot? Did the car actually tighten up after that wall hit?
No, it really didn't make too much of an effect on the car itself. I mean, I had like 30 seconds of optional damage, but I hit flush. So it was all along the side. It really didn't do much. At the end of the race, the last couple of cautions really helped me to come in, put a new set of tires on. The car was a rocket ship for the first 10, 12 laps, so I knew I was going to be good to the end. And on the outside, you can actually do pretty good on the outside on your restarts if you can get up alongside of somebody. And it just, I don't know, it worked out. I mean, it is what it is, and we'll take P2 again tonight, I guess.
And Richie, obviously taking that P2, man, who do you got to thank for that great run, great rebound, really, for second place here tonight?
Well, I'm over here rehydrating with my Victory Fuel, so got to thank Victory Fuel for being on board. Code KOI19 for 10% off. Martin Sports for being on the car. I got to thank the league. I got to thank my teammates. Again, we all kind of ran different things again tonight, so we kind of went in a little bit different direction, but still got the normal. Brody doesn't like the car throughout the race. He's not a big fan of the car still, so 2024, and he still don't like them. But I got to thank my team though. They gave me I hit a decent rocket ship for the most part. I got to thank Tony's mom and dad for watching as always, and thank you guys. And it's awesome to see Jeremy and Jason in the booth together here. So I can't wait to watch it back. Thanks, guys.
There you go. That was Richie Coy coming home yet again, the bridesmaid. Maybe next week he'll get him. Obviously, third time can be the try. We'll see if he can do it next week from Thunder Valley. And with that being said, we're going to head over to the Victory Fuel Victory Lane. And obviously, like Richie had mentioned to us now, 2 weeks in a row, you can go and use KOI19 as your checkout code on drinkvictory.com at checkout to save 10% off on your purchase. And we head over Jose Acosta. Man, you were so strong. I talked about it earlier in the broadcast that, hey, watch out for him, man. He might be starting a little bit back in the top 10, but watch out because you did win the 2023 Season C race here, man. I mean, how was your night, and take us through it?
Hey man, man, that was crazy. It was hard to win. Feel sorry about Simon. I don't know what really happened in the back, but he was strong. I don't know if I was gonna pass him, but you know I did. Well, I could say that in the beginning, I tried to save a set of tires in the beginning. That's why I didn't pit in the first stage, thinking that, you know, since we already had 2 yellow flag, I was like, man, I don't know if it's gonna be a wreck fest tonight. So let me just save one extra a tire set just in case. I've been racing NIS and I've been having some bad luck at the NIS, and you know, a lot of caution, stuff like that. So that's why I did that strategy. But I mean, I stay in the front in the second stage after I was with my tires that I didn't change, so I felt comfortable after that. And then what can I say? I mean, after that third stage, I just, you know, it was just hard racing, a little bit of hard racing, trying to stay in the pace, trying to stay on the front. And luckily I passed Simon in one of the restarts and kept it up front. And man, I saw Coy in the back. Hopefully, I was thinking that he was not gonna give me a little bump at the end. So I was like, oh man, but he couldn't catch me. So I was like, oof, like, you know, I made it through it, and I won.
I knew you'd be excited for sure picking up the checkered flag here this evening. I was really impressed with your long run there. Stage 3 started, and you just slowly drove up through the field, got all the way inside the top 3, and then the caution came out, and then I was like, man, this guy is set up for success. And then, of course, a couple laps after that restart after, you ran your fastest lap time, and in my head, I'm like, this guy is going to be the one to beat here if he can just maintain. And then your restarts were definitely on point, some of the best ones I've seen. From P2 to match, and if not even beat the leader to the line just by a skosh. Like, it was job well done on your part. And so, were you practicing those kind of restarts, in the past year or so to kind of like match the speed of the leader? Because that was not luck, that was pure skill. So how did you time those restarts?
I don't know, man. I can tell you right now that I'm racing in one monitor for the first time. I had to change my whole setting, and where I'm at right now, I can only use one monitor. So I was literally hitting the button to look to the left to try to time it correctly, and I was scared, dude. I was trying to time that correctly, and I don't know. I guess I did it the right way, man. And let me tell you, it's just hard with one monitor. It's just really hard. I mean, my hands were shaking, but I was still driving. I was still turning left.
Man, he's got a lot of excitement. I've been on that side, man, with the one monitor, because I run off one monitor, so I get the whole left and right with the D-pad on the steering wheel and whatnot. But man, great run for you tonight. Who do you got to thank for that awesome victory tonight here in the desert?
Man, I'm gonna give a shout out to my kids, to Jadiel, my son. I gotta give a shout out to you guys, FTSR, Mac 1 Performance for the sponsor here, the Wolfpack crew.com, and everybody in the track racing tonight for showing up and putting up a show too.
There you go. There's your winner, Jose Acosta, taking the victory here tonight in the desert in Arizona. Jeremy, man, it's been one heck of a season to start so far. Already a few races in, we've seen some great finishes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Great race here tonight overall. And from what you've been telling me, from what I'm seeing on the stats and whatnot, this season is looking to be one of the best ones here in quite some time. So I'm going to definitely stay tuned on my end. Personally, I know I'm not here calling all the races like you are, but I'm going to be staying tuned and can't wait to see what happens from this point forward.
Should be a fun one to see. Next week, these guys head to Thunder Valley for the Bristol 250 down in Tennessee. Some short track action at the world's fastest half mile from the last great Coliseum. With that being said, we're going to wrap up production here tonight. Want to give a shout out for FTSR for letting us be able to produce and commentate over here for their Cup and Truck Series. Want to thank everybody at Rocket Racing Media, Charles Wooten, Jeff Stabnow, Jeremy Stanley for joining me in the booth here tonight. It's great to obviously call the Mach 1 Cup Series tonight with him. And with that being said, congratulations to Jose Acosta. I'm Jason Rockfeld saying see you later from the Arizona desert. We'll see you